It's such a pleasure to have you here. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Jeho Park.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Josh. I'm going to share my screen just a minute. All right. Do you see my screen here? All right. So hello, everyone. This is Jeho Park. I'm the founding director of the multi-Sunak QCL. The Sunak is, as you know, it is the Sunak from the England, the UK Prime Minister. Anyway, we call our center QCL in short. This is my 5th year being the director of the QCL, going into 6th year in July. I'm also a parent of the students here at CMC. Taking this opportunity to introduce you the QCL services and ask for help to participate in our capstone program. The service that we provide for the students and staff and faculty at CMC are these mentoring, training, consulting, and the data science capstone program. Mentoring program is one of our main student-facing services. This is one-on-one and small group mentoring and tutoring sessions. We had over 1,400 sessions last semester only, and we have amazing mentors, student mentors, about 35, 36 every semester, majoring in mathematics, computer science, econ, and physics and other STEM oriented majors. Also, they provide their skilled mentoring for the tools like Stata, Python, R, MATLAB, Maple. And we also provide our workshops. This is actually part of the workshops that we provide every semester, the GIS workshop. Vanessa is an expert in GIS. So we provide Excel workshops, R workshops, SQL, Stata, Tableau, and other workshops to the students, faculty, and staff. Think of this, a couple minutes as a commercial break for the main show. So we'll be showing the good exercise workshop soon. Also, we do our consulting for the students and faculty, studying and researching on any STEM, mathematics, or the statistics or econ related study. A data science capstone. This is essentially experiential learning. Sorry, at CMC. It is a semester program that gives the students opportunity to work with outside clients. For example, Disney streaming, NBC Universal, LA Dodgers, also City of Ontario, East Valley Water District, and these are actual clients that we have had for since spring 2020. It is a group-based, project-based course. The data science major and data science sequence students, they need to take this DS capstone before they graduate. So we are always in need of the capstone clients. If you have data and you need some great help from our students and faculty to analyze your data for your business and so on, please let me know, please. My email is jeho.park@cmc.edu. If you don't remember my email, just ask Josh that this, the director of the QCL, he will forward your email to me. So we have our website at cmc.edu/QCL. We have Instagram at cmc.qcl. Also, my email is here too. So any question about the capstone program before I turn this to Vanessa? Okay, let me stop my share. So Vanessa and Jorge, these the two are our fellows, graduate fellows at the QCL. Vanessa is a PhD student at CGU. Her her thesis is around the GIS. So you're in good hands. So Vanessa, are you ready? Okay. And take this away, please.
I am ready. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Vanessa Casillas. I am going to show you, I'm putting you all on my other monitor over here so I could take a look at your faces, but you should see in front of you now, tell me if you don't, you should be able to see my ArcGIS online first. Just give me a thumbs up if you do see that. If you see my, okay, great, awesome. So I'm going to be teaching you today a little bit about ArcGIS online. I did ask everyone to do some public profiles accounts. If you did not make a profile, I'll show you how to do that in the beginning right now. But also if you're using your organization or a school one, account, that is fine as well. The layers we're going to be using today, all the data is all public, so you should be able to access any of these. Okay, so I'm going to give a very basic introduction today to really understand ArcGIS online and any other ArcGIS program. It takes hours upon hours of study, but today I'm going to give you a quick view of what it's like. So our agenda today is going to be logging into ArcGIS online, like I told you, just give you in case anyone hasn't done that yet. We're going to talk about what is GIS, planning a simple plan, a simple map plan, and then a look at the classic GIS online overview. When you first go in, it's kind of random if you go into the new overview or the old classic one. So I'm not sure if they switched it now that once you log in, you go straight into the new one, but I'll show you how to get to the classic one. And that's where I'm going to show you most of the workshop today. And at the end, we'll go back to the new viewer. We're going to talk about layers and layers and layers today. That's pretty much what within ArcGIS, what we're going to be working with. And then I'm going to show you how to edit those layers, if that's just the format, the color, the symbolism, or actually analyzing it. Now, I can't go really into the analyzation of it because of time, but I will show you at least where it's at and how you can at least get to it so you can then do it on your own after the workshop. And then like I said before, we're going to send it back to the new ArcGIS online viewer. And then from there, we're going to print. I'm going to show you how to print it out and so that you can copy paste it into any presentation and report. And then I'm also going to show you how to share it with everyone if you want to do it publicly or with your organization. And then lastly, just some endnotes that I will give you at the end. So what is the goal for today? I want you to be able to navigate through ArcGIS online, make a simple map, nothing too complicated, show your map to your group or organization, and then print a PDF of your map for presentations and for reports. All right, so this is our goal today. This map is what we're going to see at the end of today. This is what you should have in front of you. All right, let's go. And so like I said, I'm going to talk about logging into ArcGIS online first. So here you see when you first go to the link that we sent you, which Josh, do you have that link that for ArcGIS online that I sent you an email? Can you just put that in chat for anyone who hasn't? If not,
absolutely. Here we go.
Okay, great. When you go to that link, you will first see this ArcGIS online web page, and you would click sign in. Once you go into the sign in, the first page it's going to take you to is to this create an ArcGIS public account. I'm sorry, at first I'll take you to this one where it says create a ArcGIS account. And then you have several different options that you can do. And I asked you all to do create a public account. You would click create a ArcGIS public account. It will take you to this screen here. And then you can just create your account. You'll click next after clicking the accept and agree bounds, and then you'll be able to log in. So at this point, I would like you all to log into your ArcGIS public accounts. The first thing you should see if you're not in an organization or a school account is this homepage where it says Learn ArcGIS. For myself and anyone else who has an organization one, it's going to be whatever their organization is. So I'm logged in through the Claremont College's library. So mine is going to show this as my homepage. But just to show again, if you're just using the public account, you should see this Learn ArcGIS. When you're here, please give me a thumbs up so we can start off our hands-on demo. Now, if you did go anywhere else within, if you just click the home tab here, you should be able to see this. Is anyone having trouble? Please raise their hand. Everyone, okay. Dan, were you able to make a public account?
Hi, yes, and the page I'm seeing has a blue banner that says ArcGIS Online, and then underneath, Welcome to ArcGIS Online, and then Explore Living Atlas of the World.
Okay, so then do you have this little ribbon at the top that says Home, Gallery, Map, Scene, Notebook?
I do not. I see ArcGIS, Overview, Pricing, Map, Scene, Groups.
Can I, by chance, can I take a look at your web page that you're looking at, just so I could see if you're at the right section? Let me stop sharing for a second.
I
Just so
believe
we can get...
there's a second link on chat. That's the one you should use. My fault. Oh. I gave the link for the main website.
Oh, okay. Okay, so.
But yeah, if you could use the second one, that's going to take you to the registration page.
Okay, let me. I'm using my work computer for the Zoom and my personal computer for the ArcGIS. So let me go ahead and do that.
Let me see if I can get you to. ArcGIS Online. It should be.
Oh, it looks like a lot of other people are having the same thing.
Yes. So, okay. So where it says overview, pricing, map, you should see this in front. If you click on sign in.
Okay.
And then here, it should you should be able to put in your either if you've already created an account, you can put that in. If not, create an account.
Okay. I've got an account. Maybe I should sign out and sign back in. Let me try that.
Yes. Louisa?
Yeah, Vanessa, I'm also on. I'm already signed in, and it is taking me to that online account. I'm on the same blue page. I'm happy to have you take control of my computer if you'd like.
Let me just take a look at the web page real quick. Let me stop. I think I stopped sharing already.
Yeah, I'm on the arcgis.com/home/index.html.
Okay, so let me share my screen. So you're all seeing this here, right? Overview, pricing, maps, scene, help.
No.
Well, no. We're slightly different. It's ArcGIS, overview, pricing, map, scene, groups, content.
Oh, interesting. Let me try a different web. Let's try this one. So I'm going to click on this here and see where it takes me. Overview, pricing, map, scene, and help. Let me, if you can share, I don't know if you can enable share, Josh, real quick.
Absolutely, Louisa. I'm going to make you co-host for just a quick second, okay?
Go for it, yeah.
You should be good to go and share, but Vanessa, you might need to close yours real quick.
Oh, yes, let me share.
Let's see more. And then share screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, now I can. Okay, so you are inside as of now. This is going to be the home page. You are, if you click on map for me real quick.
Mhm.
And then everyone else, if you're the same thing, you should be fine now. You are completely, we can do the workshop with what you have. Absolutely. You just have a different homepage than what I have. I'm already been in the system for a while, so it must have me in a different home page for some odd reason.
Okay.
But everyone, if you click on map and you see this here, what Louisa has, we should be all good. Now give me a thumbs up if you were able to click on map and see that. And then I have one hand raised.
Yeah, that should be my hand. I'll lower it. But
Okay, great.
for anyone that didn't see, it was just right here.
Great.
And I should stop sharing, correct?
Yes.
Cool.
Thank you so much for doing that. So now everyone, we should all be on the same page. That is going to be your home page for everybody else. Our GIS online sometimes has different home pages, like I said, depending on the organization and public profile you have. Okay, so let me start sharing again, and let me go back to, perfect. So I'm glad we're all at the same page. You do have that map tab, which is going to be where we're going to be going for most of the, for all of this workshop. Okay, great. So we're going to start off with what is GIS? Okay, so GIS is known as Geographical Information System. It's used to for storing, retrieving, comparing data that's location based. And then one of the most famous companies that uses GIS is Esri, which stands for Environmental Science Research Institution. Their motto is the science of where, and this is by Jack Dangermond. And that's actually really close here to Claremont. It's right in Redlands. So it's a 210 to 215 hop away. So one of the most famous stories within GIS is Dr. John Snow's from London. And this is not the celebrity or the character from the TV show, but Dr. John Snow did have to face this problem of cholera epidemic in 1854. And so when looking at all these deaths, he was trying to figure out where was the most deaths. And so you see this map here is what he created. And depending on when you put it into Google, there might be different maps with different types of like symbols. But what he did was kind of put one single tick or dot wherever he saw that there was more deaths. He realized that the most deaths were next to this water pump source that was right in the middle of the whole map. So he went to that water source, he closed that water pump, and from there determined that water pump itself was the reason why there was so many deaths and spread of cholera. So by that, this was one of the first maps ever made to show us that by looking at a visual cue of your data, you'll be able to really see where people are being affected the most. So let's go and also talk about what's the first question, usually what people think when learning about GIS. Google Maps, is it GIS? Well, Google Maps is part of GIS. It does have cartography, surveying, and it also has computer science in it, but GIS is more of a science where it has geography, remote sensing, and also mathematics and statistics attached to it. Now, Google themselves have come out with different other programs that are closer to GIS, but Google Maps, the program just by itself, is just a point A to point B program. So just putting in your directions, it will give you a couple of information of certain spots, but that's going to be more towards the cartography and the surveying. All right, so I'm going to talk about planning a simple map. There is a way to, there's different ways of planning your maps when you first are thinking about what I should include. Now, this is the way I do it. There are different ways of doing it. And so this is how I plan a simple map. So planning a simple map for myself, I think about what the problem is. Why are we making this map? So if we have, so for this map that we're going to be doing today, is going to be, I am a student here in the Claremont colleges. And throughout my time here at Claremont, I want to be able to kind of try out all the restaurants around here and not worry about being late to my next class or being late to meetings. So I want to make a map to see what is the places around Claremont colleges that I can go eat at and not worry about being late to the next class. Like I said, we're making a simple map today. So that's my problem. So what kind of data do I need, which is going to be layers, which I'll talk about later. What type of data will I need for my map? Well, I'm going to need the restaurants that are around Claremont. I'm going to need where the Claremont colleges are, and depending on where I'm going to be, what class and where I'm at, maybe I'm today at Claremont McKenna College, but tomorrow at Claremont Graduate University. How far is these these restaurants going to be at? So I need those two layers, but I also need to have the boundary of Claremont, so I can also know, know that the restaurants not to go outside of the Claremont city, so I know that I can be close enough. And then also, lastly, I do need to know how long it's going to take me to get to that restaurant and back. So there's 4 different data points I need. Now, sometimes, just like, for instance, where I'm going to, how long it's going to take me to get to that restaurant, I'm going to take my restaurants, how far they are, and take where I'm going to be and have to do an analysis to see how long that time takes. So that's going to be one of the analysis that I might have to adjust, one of my layers, to be able to then find out what my solution is. Lastly, I might have to edit my map a bit, just because when I first bring in all my data, it might not look as well as I want to. And then 5th, I want to make sure that it does tell a visual story. So if I do decide to share this with my classmates or my coworkers, they'll be able to read it and be able to understand what I did. So to start off, let's get all of us click on map. So I'm going to do that now. So if we go up to the top, you'll see a tab that says map. I want you all to click on that. Now, depending, for instance, I did see that some of you did end up going to the classic map first. For anyone who sees this here, this is our new map viewer. Up at the top in the right-hand corner, you'll see an open in map viewer classic. Click on that if you see this first. And that should take you to the same look that everyone else is at, which is going to be the classic map viewer. If everyone is here, can see this on their screen, please give me a thumbs up. Great, great, awesome. All right, so we're gonna start off. I'm just gonna give you an overview of what I'm seeing here. So here, this is gonna be the base. Every time you make a map, this is the first thing you're going to see in ArcGIS Online. You're going to see your details page, which is going to have your about what your map has, like just a little bit of a brief how to make a map. You're going to see a content. This is going to be where all of your data is going to be. This is going to be your legend. This is going to be from whatever you have of your content. It's going to give you a nice little looking legend so that you can click on it and then know what you can see within your map. And then at the top here where it says add, this is where you're going to get all your data points from. So this is if you are importing or if you are looking for maps within the ArcGIS system. Then you have your base map, which we'll talk about right now, which is going to be, as you can see, it's black and white, kind of like a grayish color right now. This is where you would change the look and feel of the first layer, which is your base map. And then you have this tab called analysis, which I will also talk about. I don't see, okay. So because you have the public account, you might not have access to this until you pay for one of the memberships, but don't worry. Like I said, we're not going to be doing any analysis today. I'm just going to show you where it's at in case you do end up having access to it later. Okay, great. Okay, and so this, then you have your analysis tab if you do have it. And then this is where you're going to adjust your layers to have, maybe you might do some statistics or have to find out a couple, adjust your layers to be able to then understand more your data. You have your save here just to save your map. So throughout the course, we'll probably save. And then we have our share, which I'll show you how to share later, our print button, and then just the regular directions, measures, and bookmarks. Bookmarks is really good because if you decide to zoom out and you get somewhere quickly, you can always bookmark, let's say Los Angeles, so that if you end up going all the way out to the world, you'll be able to just click on bookmark and it'll take you straight back to Los Angeles. You also have this little tab here that says home, and it's a zoom in and zoom out. If you have a mouse that has a wheel, you can put your mouse over the map, go in and go out. This has the same function as these buttons here. Okay, and if you click on that home button, because we did start off in Los Angeles, that's where the home button is going to go. But let's say you are doing a study in New York and you put all your data in New York. Most of the time, this home button, because it knows that you're doing a lot of stuff in New York, it'll go straight to New York for your data. But that is pretty much an overview of what you're going to see. Now we're going to go more into detail with our ArcGIS Online. So let me go back to this presentation real quick. There we go. And I just talked about the classic ArcGIS Online. Now we're going to talk about layers. Layers upon layers upon layers. When you are looking at your map, you have nothing on here as of now. Right now, you are on your first layer. And every single time you put in content, you're going to add another layer. So let's take a look at that. So layers upon layers upon layers. Every layer is going to have a different data. You might have zoning layer, you might have an elevation layer, parcels, streets, and addresses. There's also, by looking at this picture here, you can also break it up into people, buildings, infrastructure, business, and an environment. So, and I just have a different picture here of what it's going to look like within ArcGIS Online. You're going to, depending on what your study is and what map you're making, these are going to change for you. For instance, today we're going to be looking at different restaurants. So we are going to have an address layer, but it's going to be called a restaurant layer for us. Okay, but every single one is a different type of data. And that's how you could think of different layers. And you can have a layer that you could duplicate, and let's say it has two different types of data. You can duplicate that layer and use one of your columns as polygons and the other one as points. So then you'll be able to then have the same data, but it's just going to be layered on top of each other. So let's go over, and if I'm going too fast, please let me know. Sometimes I talk really quickly. Okay, so going back to your map, I want everyone to click on where it says base map. Now, as I said before, this is your first layer. So here in your base maps, you have all different types of options. Depending on what type of what type of map you're doing and what you've decided and planned out for your map, you're going to choose your base map off of that so it can give you the best representation of your data. So if I was doing something that was very personal with my family, I might click on colored pencil map, which then will give me this kind of really like fun looking type of base map. I could possibly put stuff of my family throughout this map. But for today, we're all going to do, which I need to see which one we're doing here. Oh, yes. We're going to be doing our charted territory map. So I want everyone to click on that one, which is going to give us a very basic, very neutral color to our backgrounds that we can put it on there. I don't seem to have, oh no, that was old. I thought it was the same, a new comment. Okay, so now that we have this, our base map, let's take a look at what we can do with this base map, okay? Everyone, I want you to click right on details right here, which will open up about content and legend. I want you to click on content, which will show us our base map here, and click on the little down arrow key on the side. Okay. That down arrow key will then put your base map into 2 sections. And I want you to, right underneath charted territory, there's these 2 symbols, a change style symbols and 3 little dots. Click on those 3 little dots. Once you click on those 3 little dots, you'll see this option that says set range, visibility range. This is really great if you have different base maps or you have different data that you want to display at different zoom options. So if I decided to put this right underneath where it says cities, my base map would disappear, but as soon as you zoom in, it would reappear again. Okay, so this is really good for if you're doing a presentation and you wanted to show different data every time you zoom in, you can absolutely do that with this. I'm going to put mine back to the world so that if I zoom all the way out into the world, I can then be able to see it even though it's in the world section. Another thing with base maps is if you go over to transparency, you can also make the transparency, let's put it down to 50, go down. So if you wanted to layer this, if you had data that you wanted to layer on top of each other, but you wanted one to be just a little bit less opaque, you can always make it more transparent when you click on those 3 little dots. So that's the first thing for base maps. Now we're gonna go over and do our layers, okay? I want everyone to go over to add, the add option, and you're gonna have all these different options where it's the search for layers, you're gonna have browse living atlas layers, and then you also have add layer from file. Now this, I'm gonna just tell you now, if you wanted to import your own data, this is where you're going to start. But for today, we're only gonna add layers from the ArcGIS system. So I want everyone to click on search for layers. Once you click on search for layers, you're going to then see, for me, I have already content here. You might not have anything here right now because this is a public account. And so you might not have any content that comes up. But if you click on this down arrow key here, you'll have my content, my favorites, my group, my organization, Living Atlas, and ArcGIS Online. Now, my content and my favorites is just stuff that you have for your own. My group is if you're in any groups, you can absolutely, like if you share this to a group, it will come out here. My organization, because I'm part of the Claremont colleges, any layers that they have released will come out here in my organization. So depending on your organization, you'll have different stuff come out for you. And then we have Living Atlas and ArcGIS Online. So let's talk about the Living Atlas and ArcGIS Online. Everyone, I do want you to click on Living Atlas. Once you click on that, I do want you to write the word school and click enter. Please let me know if school district boundaries current came out first for you. Great, awesome. Okay, I want you to click on that one there and take a look at this layer on the side. There should be a window that pops up. This is one of my favorites to show when I'm instructing for workshops. How good they are at updating their information and keeping their layers so you know exactly what's going on with this layer here. So let me go back to my thing so I can show you what I mean. This, what you have in front of you now has a title, update, description, terms of use, credits, owner, managed by, view count, credit, created, and shared with. That is all the options that each of the layers have like an explanation of what it is. The description should be well thought out and concise and clear for anyone who's going to use your data to be able to understand what the layer is without actually having to put it on to your map right away. So they don't have to waste time clicking and unclicking. You also, so this is one of the best ones I can show you here. They have a really good description. They have the previous years collected. They also have the terms of use, and they show who their owners are and and who they're managed by, who manages this layer, which is great. You also have these two, here we go. You also have these two different little tags that says Living Atlas and authoritative, which the authoritative is kind of like a blue check mark for like social media, but also it's a very good way to know that this has been pretty much pre-reviewed. It's a very good, it's to know that it's citable. It's good, it has the correct information. It's been reviewed. Our Living Atlas tag just means that this is where it lives. It lives in this section of the ArcGIS libraries. And talking about libraries, there is two different kinds that I mentioned already. So you have your Living Atlas, which I just showed you right now, and your ArcGIS Online. Now, Living Atlas is going to be more maintained by Esri and bigger companies that Esri also has partnerships with. So Esri gives that green check mark to everybody once they know that this is a good layer that everyone can use. Where ArcGIS Online is more like peer-to-peer. So if we publish anything, it's gonna first be in our ArcGIS Online library before it would go to a Living Atlas library. This ArcGIS Online library is where you're going to find all the student work. It's going to be where you find all of the public files, and it's going to be also where you're going to find all of the published layers we're going to do today. So I also would like to mention that it's all fun and games until you run out of credits. So I did mention that there is these two tags that they have, which is going to be that green tag and then that Living Atlas tag. But sometimes you will see this little shield with the little coin. Now that means that this is going to be a subscription based where you have to pay for it. And every single person will have, depending on what pricing you do for your membership, and depending on what organization you are in, and then or school, you'll have you'll have a different amount of credits. Now credits versus free. So I will tell you this one time when I was learning how to do GIS, I blew all of my credits on trying to convert just Starbucks, like 20 Starbucks locations. And I ended up doing the whole world on accident. So just be careful of how you convert stuff and how you use your credits, because there's a chance that you might blow all your credits on 20 Starbucks locations. So that's, I was just trying to do addresses and transform them into geocodes. So just be aware of that. And if you want to, I'm not sure about the public one, but I will show you how I can access mine. I just go up here, go to my settings, and then from my settings, I go to credits. So I'm not sure if that's the same way for you, but as you can see, I've used a lot of my credits because I do a lot of workshops for this ArcGIS Online, and I use the analysis a lot. The analysis tools each cost a different amount of credits. So let me go back to where you were viewing before. So let me go back to search layers. And we were at Living Atlas, and then we were at school. All right. So that is pretty much an overview of the layer. Now let's start adding data to our map. So I want everyone to go over to ArcGIS Online because all of the layers we're going to be using today are in ArcGIS Online. So once this tag, this title has changed to ArcGIS Online, I want you to write Claremont Campus. And the first one that should come up is this CUC Campus Building 3. Everyone see that? Okay, to add this layer onto your map, I want you to click on this little plus sign right underneath. That should zoom right into the Claremont colleges. Okay, now you have all the Claremont colleges that have been mapped out for you. And you can see that who created this, the Claremont colleges themselves. Okay, so now, and they did this in 2015. So now that we have our first one, which is going to be our first layer, we can first, let's go over to the details. So click on details and then content, just to see that our first layer on top of our base map is there. Okay, let's go back into search for layers. And it should go right back into ArcGIS Online. Let's look for our next layer, which is going to be Claremont Travel. Now this one here is actually this is made by JA, which one do I want you to use? Yes, this one here. This one was made in 2022 in February, and this was made by one of, I believe, the Claremont College's students. You're gonna click on that and have it come in. This one here has been created by using an Atlas tool. So I'm sorry, an analysis tool. So let me now show you, some of you might not have this tab. Let me show you what the analysis tool looks like. Once you click on that tab, for anyone that does have it can follow along, you'll have all these different types of analysis that you can perform. So you can summarize data, you can find locations, you can do data enrichment, you can analyze patterns, use proximity, and manage data. If you want to know more about each one of these and what they do, you can always click on this little eye and it'll give you more information on it. Now, this student, the way they got this information is that they had a dot right in the middle, a point that says this is where Claremont colleges are at. They went over to use proximity. Let me take this one off so you can see that. Use proximity, and then they went to create drive times, which will then give them all these different options that they can put in, which they possibly did walking time and then did 5 minutes or did 20 minutes, and they created this this layer by using this analysis. Now, if we decided to use this, like I said, you would go down to here to show credits, which I haven't filled everything in, but once you click on that, it would give you I'm trying to remember the word. Well, give you the estimate of the credits that it can use for what you have for all your different options. So if we decided to do, let's say 20 minutes and then fill in all these other options, it might be a different credit than if I just decided to do 5 minutes. So it just depends on what options you put in here. The credits will be different. It also depends on if I decided to do this many data points in this whole section. Let's say these were all data points. This is going to be much more credits than you just doing, let's say, 1 point. that would be like 0.001 credits compared to 8 credits, which would be this far out. Okay, so that's a little bit about analysis. You can always take a look, just because not everyone has access to this. This is why I can't really show it as much, but let's add in another layer just so we can then make our data. I also want to take a look at time, make sure I'm okay. Yes, okay, great. All right, so I want you to go back to ArcGIS Online. And then for this one, I want you to write Claremont restaurants. Now, the great thing about this, as you can see, is that a lot of people have already, these are all peers of ours who have already uploaded their own versions of all this data. So you can always just go in and kind of search for something that you were thinking of doing for a map. Maybe somebody has already made a layer for you. All right, so for this one, I do want you to click on this middle one where it says Restaurants of 5 Cities by Yang _ AGIS. They did this in 2017. And that's going to show up with all these little orange dots. Let me know if this showed up for you. Give me a thumbs up. Great, awesome. Okay, cool. So now that you have all these, if you scroll out just a little bit, you'll see that we have all these different types of points. And I don't want to see all this data, right? But let's also add in one more layer, which is going to be the Claremont. If we just write Claremont by itself, let's just put in the Claremont boundary, because that layer we just put in was 5 different cities. This time I just want to, like I said, one of my, when I was planning this, one of my things was that I wanted it to be within the Claremont boundary. So this one right here, I don't want to, even though it's within my walking distance, I do not want to go that far. I don't want to go out of Claremont. All right. So looking at this now, I have all my data here, but it just doesn't look right. And there's too much data to the point that it hurts my eyes. So what I want to do here, which I just realized my base map, I didn't add my base map. I'm so sorry. When I first came in here, this is what you should be seeing. I'm so sorry. It's just too much data. It's too much that I would like to see more of just this area here and all this data to go away. So let's start doing that. Let's continue on. And let's do a couple edits. Let's make this, from what we see now, look more presentable that we can now put into reports or into, I can share with my classmates and my coworkers. So to start off, what I want to do is filter. Now, because we can't do analysis, which I would do a couple analysis too. Right now, we're just going to do a couple filters for today. So we're going to go over to our details. Everyone click on details. And then if you are not in, if you're in about or legend, just make sure you're on content. So click on that content button. And where it says restaurants, and each one of these layers actually, you'll see right underneath them, if you hover your mouse over it, all these different options. You'll have your show legend, you'll have your show table, change styles, filter, and then you'll have cluster points if you wanted to look at that, and your analysis, perform analysis. Some of you might not have these last 2 options, but at the end, you'll also have these dots, which we'll talk about. But right now, we're going to just click on filter. It's going to come out with this window. And here under 5, it should say filter restaurant of 5 cities. Here in this tab, it's going to give you all the different column names that you have within your data. And I want you to look for the word city. In city, I want you to keep it, you have all these different options. City is not, city starts with. I want you to keep it as is and write Claremont. Make sure to capitalize that Claremont word. and then leave it as value, but you can see you still have the option of field and unique, and click apply filter. By doing that, you can see that now all of your dots and points that were outside of the Claremont boundary have disappeared. Did everyone get this as a result? Great, awesome. Okay, so this is the result you should be seeing now. But also, now that I have everything within my boundary, I don't really need this boundary of Claremont itself. So let's go over when you want to keep a layer but just hide it so no one can see it on your map. All you have to do is uncheck on the side and you still have it within your map. It's just not displayed on your map anymore. Okay. All right. So that's the start. But also these orange dots are they're not doing it for me. I don't think, I would like it to represent more that they're restaurants, because what are they, like restrooms? They could be restrooms. We don't know what these dots are. So let's go over to the restaurants of 5 cities right underneath and click on change style. It's going to come out with this different options, which is choose your attribute to show. So depending on your column name, you can choose what different column you want. Right now, we're just going to show location only, which is it just shows where the dots are on the actual map. And then we can do a heat map if we wanted to, but we're just going to do a location single symbol and click options. Okay. Everyone within here, within these option, change style option, you're going to have these different types. We already talked about visible range and we talked about transparency. It's the exact same thing as the base maps. You can move it around. If you go up to a certain point and go lower to a certain point of zooming in, it will come out. You can also do the transparency. But here where it says show locations symbols, I want you to click on that symbols word, which is now going to come out with a bunch of different options you can make those dots now. Okay, I want you to go over to the drop down, click on points of interest, and then here go all the way down to the bottom. And then it's going to be the second to last row, 5th column. There's going to be this fork and this knife. I want you to click on that. And I actually don't want it to be 14 pixels. I do want it to be 8. I want it to be smaller, but just enough so we know we can see the actual icon. So click OK. Now, right now, it is displaying on my map. But if I decide to go to any other place within my website, within the website, it's not saved yet. To save it, you have to click OK, and then you have to click done. If you do not click OK and then click done, it will not save onto your map. Just this, and this is all trial and error for me from the beginning when I first started. That was one of the things, like, why isn't it saving? So now we have it saved. You can zoom in. This is much more representative of what these dots are, right? We now know that they're not restrooms, that they are now restaurants. Okay, so anyone not get this result, please raise their hand. Okay, great. All right, so now traveling from Claremont. Let's go over to traveling from Claremont McKenna College and 10 to 15, 20 minutes. So this is what they did. They did an analysis on walking from Claremont from 10 minutes, walking from Claremont from 15 minutes and 20 minutes. And they're right in the center, right? This is them making this analysis. Right underneath here, I don't like these colors. They don't represent the Claremont colors for me, right? They should be the Claremont colors, or at least close to it. So let's go under here and say change style, just like before. Now you have completely different options than what you had before. And this is because right here, you have different options within each of your each type of data type that you have within your data set is going to give you more options depending on what you have. So we're just going to looking at the different options. We're just going to click on count and amount color. When we click on that, you can see that it changes right away, but I want to even change it even more. So I'm going to click on options. And it's going to take me to these options now. So it changes completely. Here, where it says symbol, I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to just click on, I believe it's this one. I'm going to click on the 5th one on the top row and click OK. Yep, there we go. So this is a little bit more representative. It might not be completely the colors, but I think I like that shade of red at the end. And so also here, depending on what type of data you're using, you can change your intervals here and do a lot of different statistics. If you have, a lot of people like to keep it at whole numbers. And then depending on what type of data you have, you can also change your different options here. Like I said, we're just doing a simple map today, just so you can get a feel of ArcGIS Online. Okay, so again, is this saved? No, it's not. It's not saved until you click OK, until you click done. Okay, now it is saved onto your map. So this should be the result you should be seeing now. But looking at this, I don't see those buildings. Those buildings are kind of trapped behind that other layer. So how do you move layers around in ArcGIS Online? The way you would do that is by taking, do you see how when I put my cursor off to the end, there's these 3 dots and it changes into a directional cursor? You're going to take that and move it underneath the campus building. If that doesn't work for you, you can also take the campus building and move it above. Sometimes this base map sometimes gets in the way of moving them around. Just move the one from the camp building up one. As you can see, now we have our layers just switched order, and now we can have our data also be displayed in a different way. So if you're working on your own data, maybe you would like to switch it so that other data is more important than the data underneath, so that it gives a better visual view. Is everyone here with me? Give me a thumbs up if you have this all the same. Great. Awesome. All right, so this is a better visual story. Let me catch up with here. This is a better visual story to show what exactly we're doing. So now I can actually, at this point, possibly hand it off to somebody and say, oh, you want to go to this restaurant? Yeah, let me show you where that's at. So this is great, but let me also show you some other different things you can do within ArcGIS, or show you more options. So here under restaurants, you might want to label what each restaurant is. Now, depending on what the person how they put in their data, there might be names on here, there might not be. But if you click on these little 3 dots, you can go down where it says create labels. Click on that. And now you have all of the different names of each of the restaurants. You can also change the alignment if you don't like where the alignment is. Put it right in the middle if you decide to do that instead. You can change the color. So if I don't like black, I can put it as white so that it can look more in one of these, but you can also do any other color. For now, I'm going to cancel it because I don't want to have labels. I think it's too, it doesn't tell the story that I want. And then you can also do that. Let's say for the 10, 15, 20 minute, you have that option too, to create those labels. So then from location 1, which would be the dot here, this is 10 to 15 minutes. This is 15 to 20 minutes. So depending on what you do, just remember, think about the audience you're giving it to. Are they going to be able to understand and look at this and know what you're saying? Or would it be better to have just a legend that will show the different shades and tell you and not actually label this. So think about your map throughout the whole process. But let's go over, like I said, just so that you could see, if you click on details, then click on legend, you can see that legend itself. Now, if you are in content and you click right here, this first button, it will show you what the legend's gonna look like for you. So if we click on travel from Claremont McKenna College, click on that legend, it gives you a preview of what you're going to see in your legend. So you can do either one. So if you don't want to go back and forth clicking. Okay. Lastly, let's take a look here. Transparency, I told you about range, and that's all good. Lastly, let's save this to make sure that we don't lose any of our progress. So let's go over up here to where the button says save and save as, and let's rename our project here. I'm going to name mine map, and then I'm going to name it Claremont. You can name it whatever you like, but if you name it the same as mine, there might be a chance that it might not. If you keep it within your content, it should be fine. But if you publish it, if you have the same name, you might have to change it. And then talking more about the save map option, you have different categories you can assign it depending on what you have. Categories are a whole different system that I can show you if you have any questions later. But you can also add tags like Claremont, and it'll say like no existing tags. It'll just create a tag for you. And then summary wise, this is a really good place to put that description that you're probably going to use later for your layer. So that everyone who does, once you do publish it, you don't have to rewrite it. And then you have your save folder for public. I'm not sure if you have a folder, but for anyone who has an organization, you might have different folders that you have for your organization that you can put it into. I'm going to put mine right in general, which is going to be my email. And then I'm going to save map. Okay. And now let's talk about sharing. Sharing is going to be a really good place for you to be able to kind of see who you want to share with. You have three options. You have public. For our public accounts, you might not have all three, but if you do go into an organization, you'll have your organization on the second one. And then you'll have your groups, which I have two groups. I have my projects, and then I have the QCL workshop. When I do workshops, I ask all the students to share their workshop one. And then I have link to map here. If you do have this, again, I'm not sure if the public one has this, but I do want to show all the different angles. You can always take this and put it into a report. You can put it into a presentation for them to click on and go over to your map to navigate and look through. You also have create a web app, which is out of the scope of this, this workshop as well. But I did want to show you the different ones that you have options. So if you want to show everyone today, you can always click on public, and which will, if you have an organization, will also be part of your organization, and then click done. And now everyone can see what you made today. Now let's say you wanted to put this into a, you wanted to print, right? I would not advise using print in the classic viewer because they are making everything and taking everything from the classic viewer and putting the new viewer. And this print just does not work as well. Sometimes it prints like this, and you won't be able to fix it at all, even though you have it very nice and neat right in the middle. It's just, there's really no saying what you're going to get. It is a random roll of the die. So let's go over and go into the new map viewer. Now, everyone who has a public account, please tell me, give me a thumbs up if you see this open new map viewer. Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. Let's click on open in map viewer. Once you saved it, if it asks you to save again, just then go over and hit save. And then once it saves, now you can click on Open Map Viewer. Sometimes it just wants you to save one more time. As me, who saves like 3 times, because sometimes, I don't know, playing, it's hard to close a program without saving it like 3 times. All right, so now you're in the new map viewer. Everything I taught you is all the same in here. The only difference is that now you have one side where you have all of your layers. It's just a different view, and all of your edits are over here on this side. But everything I showed you, you can do all within this new map viewer. I just think it's easier to teach on the actual classic. So let's put this into a PDF, and also so that you can copy paste it. In this black bar here at the bottom, there is this print. I want you to click on the print. And here in you have 2 options. You have layout and map only. And I'm going to click on layout, keep it as layout. And then I'm going to do PDF as my file format, which you have different file formats you can do. So depending on what you need. You can also do advanced options here. And sometimes there's debates within our within GIS. Should we include in a north arrow or not? I say we should, but you can always not include it. It's up to you. It's however you like. I'm saying we should, just so that everyone can have a chance to look at what it looks like when you do have it. I'm also going to include a legend. And then I'm going to click export, which once you click it, oh, you can also change the title if you like, if you wanted to change it to a different name than what you have it as the map. Once you click export, nothing's going to happen in your map, but everything's going to happen right underneath where it says exported files. And depending on where you have your map, so I have mine right in the middle of my whole screen, that's how it's going to print out. So if I decided to print it like this, you'll see all of this area, okay? So once you click on it, it should take you to a new web page and show you this. Now you might be asking, well, I don't want it to be named these names down here. I want to put my own names. You can absolutely do that. And you can also do it in the viewer. So if you go over to layers, and then you click these 3 little buttons, you can say rename, and rename it to, instead of Claremont City boundary, just put Claremont City and press OK. And it can change each one of these so that when you do print this out, it can have different names on your layers. I hope I didn't go too fast, but I do want to give a little bit of endnote to this, which is going to probably take me a little bit. I also want to show you where you are able to find your maps and also where you're able to edit your layers. Because I did mention this, but I also want you to have the opportunity to edit them if you wanted to. If you go over to home at the top, oh, we're in the map viewer. Let me go back to map viewer. Okay, here. If you go up to these 3 little lines and you go over to where it says home, gallery, scene, group, click on content. Now, if you are back at the classic viewer, still click on content. It says leave page. Yeah, you can leave page. We already saved it, so it should be fine. Tell me if you see this page here. It should be a content page. You're going to have different things than what I have. Okay, great. This is where you're going to find, let me take a drink of water. This is where you're going to find all of the stuff that you have created. You're going to have your web maps. You're going to have, I've created a story map. You're going to have all your different layers. So you have feature layers here. So if you did want to change, let's say one of your, we just created this one. If you wanted to change your different items, you would just click right into the map name or the layer name, and you'll have now all these different options that you can edit, so that now you can then have on that layers page that I showed you from schools, so that it can now follow those guidelines that I told you, which was title, update, description, terms of use, credits, owner, managed by, view count, created, and shared with. This is one of my layers that I'm showing here. So by changing all these options, it'll be a better layer for you to share with people, and they'll know exactly what's in that layer. And then lastly, going back to content, going back up here to the top, you also have this groups. So if you have any groups, for instance, with QCL, I have my group here. This is where you're going to find the groups. And once you click into them, you'll see all of the different types of view all content group. You'll see all of the information and layers and maps that they've created themselves. So that's good if you are working with a group, that's where you would find that. Yeah, that is what I have to show you as a quick overview. If you have any questions, I can show you now. I have resources, Esri has a lot of really good training resources. So you can take a look at that. And then you have ArcGIS Learning that you can go to as well. And yeah, that's me. This is our email. I'm Vanessa Casillas. Thank you for joining me and looking at this. Let me know if you have any questions. I can go over them now.
First off, thank you so much, Vanessa. We can't tell you how much we appreciate you leading us through all of these workshops. While our alums ponder if they have any questions, I just want everyone to keep in mind that should anything come up and you're unsure of it, obviously you've got Vanessa's information here. You're also welcome to forward it on to me, and I can always get it in front of the hands of whoever needs it.
Is there a PDF for your presentation available? Yes, there is. I actually created this PDF here to share. I always like to share the slides afterwards with Josh to pass out to you. So I'm absolutely going to share all of these slides with you so that you can be able to then review. Yep. Let me go back down to the bottom. Any other questions? Yes, Colin.
Hi, Vanessa. Thank you for the awesome presentation.
No problem.
I'm curious with these map layers, is it possible to export them to a different app like Google Maps or Avenza or Gaia GPS to overlay it to an app that's already in a web application?
You should be able to share. Let me go to one of the layers. I think this is just me testing something. You should be able to export data and share. And
Okay.
here you can then export it to the file that you need to then put it into one of those different programs, if you like. Each of the layers are going to be a different file within your ArcGIS online content.
Awesome. And follow-up question to that too. So we didn't really get into the analysis tab,
Yes.
but can you only do analysis in ArcGIS, or is there an API that you could also work with in order to like do some kind of analysis of like you want to analyze satellite imagery and then overlay that? You
can. I would advise you to do more of that in ArcGIS Pro than ArcGIS Online. You can do that, but I feel like you'll have a lot more hiccups with it than doing it in ArcGIS Pro.
Okay.
ArcGIS Pro would be a much better way to connect an API to do that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, everybody. Well, if there's no more questions, again, you can always email us with those that we can. I love the idea of at the end of the day, whether it's 4 o'clock or 7 o'clock, giving everyone some time back. This recording should be available on our online virtual programs library and probably sometime mid next week. At this time, I hope you'll all join me in just giving a little clap, either by emoji or elsewise, for Vanessa, for our amazing instructor.
Thank you.
And then I wish you all a fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you.